Hey everyone, and welcome to the kitchen. Today we are diving into a true culinary masterclass. We're going to break down an absolute classic, stir-fried pork belly and red curry with long beans. But listen, we aren't just reading a recipe card today. I want you to think of me as your personal mentor chef, and I'm going to walk you step by step through the actual technique and science behind making this dish literally restaurant quality. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to manipulate your ingredients, control your heat, and nail the timing to create a flawless stir-fry.
Right off the bat, let's be completely honest with ourselves here. Have you ever just completely ruined a stir-fry? You know the drill. You go to the store, you buy these beautiful, fresh, vibrant ingredients, you get your wok out, and then somehow, by the time it actually hits the plate, dinner is just a dull, mushy disappointment. The veggies are kind of gray and limp, and the meat, well, it takes a serious jaw workout just to chew it. It's incredibly common, super frustrating kitchen fail. But hey, here is the good news. The difference between that sad mush and a brilliant, crisp, flavorful stir-fry, it's not magic, it's just method.
Okay, let's dive into this paradigm shift. The amateur approach to stir-frying is, frankly, a bit chaotic. It's basically just throwing raw vegetables directly into a blazing hot pan and crossing your fingers. But the chef's way? It's all about staging and timing. A real pro prepares the ingredients before they ever see that final high heat, specifically by blanching and chilling the veggies first. Because great cooking isn't just about what goes into the pan, it's about exactly how and when it gets there.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the prep, or mise en place. Second, the secret to crispy beans. Third, blooming the flavor base. Fourth, perfecting the pork belly. And finally, number 5, the final toss.
All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the prep, setting the stage.
Any successful cook will tell you that the battle is actually won or lost before you even turn a knob on the stove. This is a concept known as mise en place, a French term that basically means putting everything in its place. So let's look at our essential setup straight from the source. You're going to need your long beans cleanly cut into 1.5-inch pieces, get your pork belly sliced into nice bite-sized strips. For our flavor engine today, we are using 50 grams of Mae Ploy red curry paste, which is just a fantastic, really authentic brand. You'll also need some palm sugar and fish sauce to balance everything out. Oh, and pay really close attention to this next detail. The kaffir lime leaves. Do not chop them. You actually want to tear them. Tearing the leaves actively ruptures the cell walls, which releases those incredible, highly aromatic essential oils right before we start cooking.
Moving right along to section 2, the secret to crispy, vibrant beans.
Listen closely, because this right here is the absolute make or break chef's secret of our entire explainer. This is exactly how you guarantee your long beans don't turn into sad, wilted little strings, but instead keep their gorgeous, bright color and that perfect, snappy bite. We're talking about a vital culinary technique known as shocking. Shocking simply means plunging hot vegetables directly into a freezing cold ice water bath immediately after you boil them. It is literally culinary magic. By hitting the beans with that extreme cold, boom, you stop the internal cooking process dead in its tracks. And that is what preserves the actual cellular structure of the vegetable.
So here is the exact fail-proof formula to achieve that vibrant, crispy texture. First, drop your cut long beans into rapidly boiling water for just 10 to 20 seconds. That is it. Seriously, if you overblanch them here, they are definitely going to wilt later on in the wok. Second, scoop them out and plunge them immediately into that ice-cold bath. Finally, and this is crucial, you've got to leave them in that ice water until they are completely cold all the way to the core before you drain them. This shock treatment is what locks in that beautiful bright green color and guarantees that incredibly satisfying fresh crunch when you finally take a bite. This is the master secret, guys.
Okay, part 3, blooming the flavor base.
Now that our beans are perfectly prepped and shocked, it's finally time to move over to the wok. Now, you might be thinking that cooking with a wok means instantly turning the dial up to maximum heat, right? Well, actually, building a deep, rich flavor profile requires a surprisingly gentle touch to start. You absolutely must start with warm oil, not scalding hot oil. If you just drop that delicate Mae Ploy curry paste into smoking hot oil, the spices are going to instantly burn and your whole dish will taste better. No thanks. Instead, you want to use a medium-low heat. You're just gently frying the paste to coax out the aromas, letting those spices bloom and release their natural oils. Trust me, your kitchen is going to smell absolutely incredible. So, the absolutely crucial point to remember here is this quote. Season the curry paste completely before adding the meat. This right here is a massive mistake a lot of beginners make. They wait until the very end of cooking to try and adjust the flavors. Don't do that. You want to add your palm sugar and your fish sauce directly into that blooming curry paste early on. By doing this, the sweetness of the sugar and the savory umami of the fish sauce get a chance to perfectly meld into the paste. You're creating this unified, intensely flavorful foundation way before the pork even enters the picture.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, perfecting the pork belly. And speaking of the pork, we need to tackle the chemistry behind another huge trap that completely ruins this dish for amateur cooks. And this brilliantly illustrates why things go so wrong sometimes. If you overcook the pork belly in the sweetened curry paste, the sugar literally binds physically to the pork skin and hardens it. The result? It turns tough, rubbery, and incredibly chewy. Nobody wants that. Instead, you only want to cook the pork for about 2 to 3 minutes. Just gently press the meat with your spatula, and when it feels slightly firm and springy, it's perfectly cooked and tender. Please, whatever you do, don't just leave it in there boiling away.
All right, the moment we've been waiting for. Section 5, the final high-heat toss.
We have officially reached the climax of the dish. All of our beautifully prepped, perfectly timed ingredients are about to finally meet in the wok. This is the grand finale. Now is the time to crank up that stove. Turn the heat up high. Drop in those perfectly shocked, vibrant green beans along with your torn kaffir lime leaves. From this moment on, it's a very quick, choreographed dance. Remember, you are not cooking the beans right now. They're already perfectly crisp from our blanching technique earlier. You are simply tossing everything rapidly just to coat the beans in that rich, sweet, savory pork curry sauce. The high heat flashes off any excess moisture and instantly releases the floral aroma of those lime leaves. Give it a few fast tosses and turn off the stove immediately.
And there you go. You haven't just learned a recipe today, you have literally learned the fundamental architecture of a truly great stir-fry. By mastering your mise en place, understanding the absolutely vital science of blanching and shocking your veggies, taking the time to gently bloom your spices, and respecting the chemistry of how proteins cook, you have completely elevated your cooking game. The best part, these core techniques can be applied to pretty much any stir-fry you tackle from here on out. So my question to you is, now that you're armed with all these chef's secrets to perfect color, crunch, and flavor, what are you going to stir-fry next? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and hey, happy cooking!